everybody. How you doing? It's Michael again. Oh my God. I won't believe this. But, here we go. Ooh, don't be afraid. Okay. I hate to say this, but it's rough to be right. But here we are today. How's everybody doing? Today is communication. Now, you know, I want to say, I want to pray for those people down in Houston, Texas right now, and the people that are in the path of these particular hurricanes and these particular tornadoes and things that are going to start happening, because, as I've said before, this is kind of the beginning of the end, because, again, Houston is the fourth largest city in the country, and to tell you the truth, we'll never be the same. It's going to be treated like New Orleans now. But the whole issue is communication here, and that's what our topic is today, because if we're not able to communicate, all of these issues are going to make us come together because of the fact that when it comes to verbal, nonverbal, written, business, political, family, interpersonal, non-human, all of these particular forms of communication create barriers. And see, especially when it comes to non-human, because there are people that would rather talk to dogs and animals and things like that. And there's when the problem begins, because in this country, you have people that are so diverted from communicating with each other that they communicate with animals and spirit guides and all these other things instead of doing what is actually necessary and really kind of mandatory for people to even understand how you get along with anybody. I mean, even though there is no manual for how to raise children, you had all these people that always wanted to try to communicate to you what they would do or what somebody else would do. You know, if they were raising kids, whether they were autistic or black or, you know, Hispanic people or something, they always wanted to give their specific rendition of what communicating to these children would be in order to make them better children and better senses of community. But through all of those issues, you'll notice that none of that communication or none of those ideas came to how to teach people how to do right and wrong. Have you noticed that? I mean, throughout this system that we have, the communication issue has been, you know, why is it no one's teaching right from wrong? Because the churches aren't doing it, really. Because, you know, you can't really, I mean, you can't really say that the biggest religion at some point here was the Catholic religion. And the mobsters and you know, anybody that would give them money were, you know, forgiven and such, you know, just like a lot of other religions, you know. But they don't seem to be relaying that message, how to recognize and how to communicate. To recognize how to find out somebody that's about to do you harm or will do you harm in the future. The FBI knows. The FBI they have these profiler people. They seem to be able to communicate, but the FBI doesn't communicate with the school systems. You understand? When you have someone's behavior that you can recognize and that you can draw a conclusion from, and you don't tell anybody, wow, man. I think that's complicit. Okay, now here we go. Now, the issue of barriers, it retards or distracts from the message and intent, and especially when in this country the barriers go up first. You see, in other countries people are always looking to communicate with people because they want to see what that person will bring to their life, that will communicate to them how they will be able to say, well, okay, if I know this person, how will this person help my family? How will this person help me and my thought to not just to communicate, but also to take these lessons and these communications and to put them into actions. Now again, that's what the masters always taught us to do. You have to put these things into action. They're called deeds. And these are the other ways where you can determine whether the right and wrong is right or wrong. Because the action behind right is different than the action behind wrong. You could have the same line. Let's say, let's go out and create a life for ourselves. Now, there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. But in this society, Church isn't doing that. The schools definitely aren't doing that. The police, no. So, here we go. Okay, so with all these ways, okay, so there are more ways for you to communicate. If you look at, like I said earlier, the good and evil, the past, the present, and the future, these type of things. You see, this is the other gauge as to who you're dealing with, how you can gauge that good and evil, and how your life depends on that gauge, or in this word, let me throw in this word, judgment. Okay? Because the word judgment is pretty final to a certain level. And I'm not talking about the judgment that the master gives. The master gives a completely different judgment issue. Because a judgment in the master's eyes is do or die. Actions or displacement. Okay, so when you look at the many ways and the more ways that you can recognize, even just like okay, let's take spirit. And we all know this occurs because otherwise there wouldn't be a religion, or you wouldn't be a Catholic, or I wouldn't be a disciple. Okay? There's a spirit issue here that we're dealing with. And see, that too gives you another gauge. Because again, by communicating, you can tell if this person, whoever they are, and I don't care if they're the cleverest people in the world, that spirit will indicate to you what type of person you're dealing with. That spirit is the final test. And again, it says test the spirits. You have to test them. Otherwise, you end up in danger. And then you can't understand. Now, let's take this issue in Houston. These disaster issues that are occurring. Now, for me, I had spoke to survival, earlier in the year, and how do you get out of these things? I mean, I know how to do it. I'm a Boy Scout. I mean, I started from, like I said, my uncle, my mother. I'm a Boy Scout. It doesn't make any difference. I don't even need a tent. I need nothing, really, to survive and to move forward. And see, you people don't know how to do that, especially you good-looking ones. Oh my God. I guess glamour just will be out the window now in Houston for a while. Yeah, okay. So here's what we do. Let me bring this other point up right here. So with all these ways to communicate, you must wonder, why are people bored? You have to wonder this situation, because whether or not it's intercommunication or verbal or nonverbal, if someone says to you that they're bored, you need to cut that person loose. I say that simply because of the fact that if you'll read, you'll understand that when people do not have a direction, they usually fall into the bad category. Yeah, listen, because listen, when you have a planned or a driven type of life to where you have a goal and you're going to achieve that, and you want to see and help and bring other people into your goal, because there's other people that have like-minded goals. They may not be exactly as your goal predicted, but those goals are pretty much the same. They culminate together. You go in the right direction. You need to contact the same people. These things happen. So what you need to do is look at the situation to where at some point, by communicating and wondering why this person is bored, you're asking, well, wait a minute, who's driving this person? Wow, it just got warm. Okay, that's right, it's really hot here in the Bay Area. Heat wave, it's hotter in the Bay Area now than where I grew up. And what are you talking about? I frame roofs at 110, and it's hotter here. Okay, Mr. Climate Change. But listen, the issue that we're facing right now is the fact that our communication is going to create so many more problems other than these disasters that I told you that would actually pretty much kind of bankrupt the country. But, we're going to try to put these things on the right front. Because what the issues are now is the fact that we need to look and say to ourselves, how are we going to communicate in the future? how are we going to improve our communication level in order for us not to sit here and keep saying, well, you know, there's racism and poverty and all these other things. Yeah, we know all these things happen. But again, we're still spending money on going to the moon. Okay, we're still giving money to people all over the world. Those people don't like us. We still are spending money on people that are coming here and they don't want to be Americans. I keep saying the same thing, but you guys, for some reason or other, it doesn't register to the intelligent. I'm the dumb one. So I would say stupid things like this. Like, why can't you communicate, and why can't you solve that problem, and what is the reason for your apprehension for putting things in the right, instead of creating more and more diverse and more downsliding timelines. I got to stick with the timeline thing, because in a sense, if you look at this particular timeline, and I said this before, because as when the president before this one came in, President Obama, the timeline was going up. Okay? But now, there it goes back down again. Because it's only taken, what, 8 months now? And now, it's all gone. Okay? It's all gone. So, you have to look at it again, and you have to say, well, wait a minute. Let's look at the past and say, well, okay, we got the government that we deserve because the master's in control of that. So we got the government we deserve. So now we have this guy. Now me, as I begin to speak and I begin to hear and understand, all of a sudden I'm saying the same thing this guy is saying. Now this is a revelation for me, simply because now, I mean, I already told you what's going to happen. And I think they were touching again on the impeachment issue and the interference into investigations and such. And then the guy was talking about, yeah, he talked to Sessions, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, the issue that we face here now is communication. Because this racism thing, oh, it's only going to get worse. You know that. Because in a sense, right now, you've created what is called a reverse Babel. Think about it. Okay, what the master did to the people in the original Babel, I mean, they were all speaking the same language at the time. Okay, but as this tower kept getting bigger and 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 bigger, no stopping to it. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a minute, hold up, you're not listening. You're not listening to my prophets, you're not listening to nobody, I'm trying to tell you. Bam, it's over. Now nobody speaks the same language. Now here we are. Nobody speaks the same language, and they're still trying to pretend like they're, what, doing the will of the master? I'm confused. So, considering the reverse Babel scenario, we have to look at this and say, well, wait a minute. If this is not right, it's only going to get worse. Because not only do you not recognize that these particular occurrences are happening over again, you're not even paying attention to the fact that the wealthy and the disasters and the politicals and the even the, I'd have to say right now, there was this other issue with the narcos and these other things and these habits and these, and that's the reason why I talked about the vices and the 7 deadly sins. Because now there's another level in this country that has to do with straight evil. And it consumes everybody. That's why there's the, obituate epidemic. And again, I said, what's going to happen to the cartels? Well, the cartels are going to put a big press on because they're losing money. Just like the Saudis are losing money. Everybody's losing money now. Now look at. Now I'm not saying nothing really specific about the issue, but look at how much it's going to cost for Texas in this Harvey thing, dude. Okay, I just hate to beat that dead horse, but come on, man. You know how it goes. Okay. Now, remember, shake the person that's bored, because they have no insight. They're not able to put life into your life. If anything, they're going to suck more life out of you, and then you'll become an enabler. So when somebody says they're bored, you need to cut them loose right now and tell them, I got better things to do. Without a doubt, because that's when that what do they call that, symbiote comes into play. Or the sucker, where you see all the big sharks with the little sucker fish hanging off of them. Same thing. Haters. Okay, so here's what we do. Let's look at the timeline, and I'm saying this again like I said earlier. Let's look at the timeline of creation evolution compared to when we can view of these countries' future, and if these things even be adjusted or slowed. And see, that was the other thought. Now, look, what I'm saying here is, or what this is saying, I don't even think I said this, but what I understand here is the fact that even the timeline of creation or evolution, we're out of time. See, because we've created a situation where religions, in the first part of this history, they've created these dark ages, these holes in the timeline, to where ignorance and stupidity had reigned for hundreds of years. And now, we actually have that right now. Because right now, there's only so many places in the world where intelligence is actually harbored. Now, a lot of people may think that that's I don't know, Silicon Valley. But look, if those people were so smart, why are they causing so much grief for everybody else? If your game is so tight, if you're so freaking smart, why is it you couldn't do that out in the middle of the water? Why? Why can't you do that out where there's just you people, and then there's little outskirts and stuff where you people can have each other? Because you're going to get preyed upon here pretty soon. Because you're a weak bunch of glasses people. You're not gonna do nothing. You're going to do nothing but get run over. That's what's going to happen. Because when the Mad Max shit, what do you think's going to happen when the disaster hits us? All of you cowards. You're not going to be like them guys in Texas. Them guys in Texas, man, they hey, man, my people from Texas, you looking at Texas. So, I'll tell you what we do. I'm going to try my best to say, try to build some muscle, people, because you're going to need it, and you're going to need it in a really bad way. So, I'm hoping that as we look at this issue of creation and the evolution, compared to when and what we can view, I get it, of the countries. Look around us now. Look around all the rest of the countries. The Saudis I spoke of earlier, Mexico, crawling. I'm telling you, look at North Korea. Oh my God, this guy Russia, oh my God. These are wars and rumors of wars. Believe me. These wars are jumping off right now. Now this guy wants to go to Afghanistan, do some more crap. Wars and rumors, man, this is the pinnacle of communication right now. You're being communicated with and you're not even hearing it. You're not even understanding it. And you're not preparing. So I'm saying, prepare, people. Try to understand the fact that right now, we're in a bad way. But this is still a good way. There's a way of escape. Always, God gives. So please, let's do this last one right here. Okay, because the country's in view. Because what's going to happen, I'm going to say this in a short way, and I've said it before. We are going to be like the other countries, because soon there won't be no money around here for nobody to worry about buying no dope, no opium, no press-on nails, none of your little whack-ass, what do they call them, knickknacks. You know what I'm saying? No hoarding. None of that's going to be going on no more. Okay? Take my word for it. There won't be a program on TV talking about we're out picking through the yard or junkyard, whatever. People, this is as good as it's going to get, and from this point on it gets worse. Well, it was a while back. It was a while back because of the timeline. And like I said, once you begin to look and see, 21st century, man, you don't want none of this. Okay, here we go. Think of why and what can be done to be wise enough to escape what is written. Now that's the trick. Think about it. It's written, oh, it's going to happen. But the avenue of escape. There is an avenue of escape. The question is, do you know what that avenue is? Do you have that Are you on that frequency to hear that avenue of escape? Because just like if I were to say, wait a minute, you know something? I hear there's a storm coming. I heard it's pretty bad. Let me leave. Take what few things I can. These are days before. Because it comes. And everybody knows it. And let's get one thing straight. I believe in gibberish. I live and die by gibberish. Okay? What you consider gibberish is the will of the master. I understand it. And I hope you do. So. And, you know, as bad as I say this, it's probably one of those things I probably shouldn't be saying. You know, even though we may be wise, and it's written, we already know what's going to happen. The biggest nation is the first to fall. It's in writing. We already know who that is. That one world government is the harlot. Okay? That's right. We're the only people that can take money all over the world. It's here. It's us. Okay? So understand how this moves into the next level. I try to talk. Other people will say things. There will be more communication from other places. And these words will be coming from here, 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 here. You need to be able to be on the frequency to hear it and understand it. Because it's going to start coming around everywhere now. Everywhere. Not just me. I'm doing this because I'm feeling good. I feel so good now. I do. And I hope you do too. But the big problem that we're having is this country will not return. I don't even know why I wrote that. Return is... And the whole issue is it can't. It's not supposed to because, you know, at this level right now, we have to be focused on who that guy is, that Antichrist. Because as all these things go on and all this turmoil and all this gnashing and all these things, and you know, there's still 1,000 years, you know. 1,000. You got about 1,000, and you know, that's pretty creepy. But those 1,000 years, nobody's going to be dying. Zombie time. So, God bless you. I pray that everything's good and communicate. And try to communicate with me if you can. I hope. I hope you understand that I want to help. I can. Just let me know. Thank you. God bless.